David.
We both went to John Muir Elementary School. Several years after me.
It's synced. Test, test, 1, 2, 3. Test, test, 1, 2, 3.
It was no fun. Hola, buenos dias. I'm Tiki Eineke, and I'm a member of the worship arts team. My pronouns are they and them. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Fresno, California. Welcome to our annual Dr. Martin Luther King Sunday celebration. Welcome to everyone on our Alluvial Avenue campus. Welcome to all of you on our online church campus. We are one congregation in many places. Somos una congregación en muchos lugares. Unitarian Universalism believes that inclusivity and welcome are religious values that lead to creation of beloved community. That is why it thrills me to say that we are welcome here no matter our race, culture of origin, age, gender, spiritual background, or religious beliefs. Our neurodiversity is welcome here. We are welcome no matter the level of our formal education or the amount of money we have. Our disabilities are welcome here. We are welcome with or without documentation. Everyone from the LGBTQ plus community is celebrated here. Those of us who are non-binary, gender fluid, and interests are welcome here, and intersex. All are welcome here. Todos son bienvenidos aquí. We honor the indigenous peoples on whose land our Alluvial Avenue campus sits. As a part of this recognition, we encourage you to learn more about the history of the Yokots people. On our online campus, please be sure to learn about the indigenous people who are the stewards of the land where you live. If you would like a personal joy, sorrow, concern, or gratitude included in today's service, just text it to us, 559-337-3772. Be sure to text your name as well so we know who you are. You can also type it into the chat box. Now, in person or in quiet of our hearts, let's say good morning, buenos dias to each other.
Buenos dias. Oh, let's try that again. Buenos dias. Mi nombre es Timoteo. My name is Tim. My pronouns are he, him. And it is my joy to welcome you to our annual Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Sunday service. Let us allow the sound of the tingsha to carry us to that quiet, calm place within.
Good morning. I'm Jamie Jones, a member of the worship arts team. My pronouns are she, her.
I'm Ken Ma, a member of the Mosaic Makers team, which is charged to help our congregation live more fully into our vision of becoming a multiracial, multicultural congregation. My pronouns are he and him. If you have a chalice or a candle at home, please bring it close as we'll be lighting it soon.
Ken and I would like to add your voice to our chalice lighting words with the response, work for justice, work for peace. Can we try that together? Work for justice, work for peace. One more time. Work for justice, work for peace.
These are the words of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. We must have the audacity to believe that people everywhere can have 3 meals a day for their bodies, education and culture for their minds, and dignity, equality, and freedom for their spirits.
Work for justice, work for peace. We are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality tied in a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Work for justice, work for peace.
Hatred and bitterness can never cure the disease of fear. Only love can do that. We must evolve for all human conflict, a method which rejects revenge, aggression, and retaliation. The foundation of such a method is love.
Work for justice, work for peace. One day we must come to see that peace is not merely a distant goal that we seek, but a means by which we arrive at that goal. We must pursue peaceful ends through peaceful means. True peace is not merely the absence of tension, it is the presence of justice. Work for justice, work for peace.
In this spirit, Dion, his grandmother Darcy, and his great-grandmother Patty light our chalice on Alluvial Avenue, and you can kindle the flame in your home or in your heart.
Our song of praise is Never Turning Back. Please rise as you are willing or able to sing together.
Gonna keep on moving forward. Gonna keep on moving forward. Keep on moving forward. Never turning back. Never turning back. Gonna keep on loving boldly. Gonna keep on loving boldly. Keep on loving boldly. Never turning back. Never turning back. Gonna grow in peace together. Gonna grow in peace together. Grow in peace together. Never turning back. Never turning back. Gonna keep on serving proudly. Gonna keep on serving proudly. Keep on serving proudly. Never turning back. Never turning back. Gonna work for justice bravely. Gonna work for justice bravely. Work for justice bravely. Never turning back. Never turning back. Gonna keep on moving forward. Gonna keep on moving forward. Keep on moving forward. Never turning back.
I invite us to remain standing as we say together the mission of this church. La misión de la Iglesia Unitaria Universalista de Fresno es amar inclusivamente, crecer espiritualmente, servir con gratitud y trabajar por la justicia. The mission of the Unitarian Universalist Church of Fresno is to love inclusively, grow spiritually, serve justly, and work for justice. May it be so. Please be seated. So, besides being Martin Luther King Sunday, today we have a pop quiz. 2 questions. The first, for some of us, it's going to be very easy. Who is this? Great. Could we have his name appear, Ian? So, who can tell me something about Dr. Martin Luther King? Why are we celebrating tomorrow his birthday? And this can be a young person or someone who once was young but is still young at heart. Why celebrate Dr. Martin Luther King? Oh, yes, Ellie.
Because he helped stop segregation.
Very good. Woo. I think we're going to leave it at that because that was awesome. So, our next question, this is the second question. This person is also a doctor. This person was also very important to the civil rights movement. Lorenzo, you probably know this. Who is this person? Her name is Dr. Bernice Johnson Reagan. She was one of the founders of the SNCC Freedom Singers. That stands. These were a group of young people who got together and toured the country going to different civil rights events, civil rights protests, singing songs to lift people's spirits, singing songs as people were beaten, singing songs as people were arrested, singing songs in the jails themselves. There was a belief, said Dr. Reagan, that the music will lift the spirit when they're trying to break us down. It's estimated that the singers, the freedom singers, traveled over 50,000 miles in this country bringing their music. Later on, Dr. Bernice founded Sweet Honey in the Rock, one of the great a cappella groups in this country. So Dr. Martin Luther King felt one of the most important tools that the civil rights movement had was its music. Its music would propel the movement forward when people were weary, when hearts were broken. Right before Dr. King died, he began what was called the Poor People's Campaign, a campaign to unite people of all races together who were poor or impoverished and become a new and mighty force for justice. Song was also such an important part of the Poor People's Campaign. Flash forward to 2019, the Poor People's Campaign reformulates and begins this massive movement of unifying people across races to give the people a voice. They reached back into the history using songs that Dr. Bernice had taught and sung, and they mixed it with their own music of today. And so we've sung this before. This is one of the great anthems of the Poor People's Campaign. I'm going to invite us to rise and body your spirit. As you pick it up, feel free to sing along and clap your hands if you feel so moved. And we'll begin
because
now.
Because this campaign is paying homage to the old and the new, we think about the then and the
we
now.
We could get the
of
volume
movement.
on?
We're bridging the gap between 1968 and 2018, which is 50 years of just revolution in 50 years of activism. So we also incorporated a new part that incorporates hip-hop, a little hip-hop aspect to it. So they bring the old with the new. So when we get to that, we'll teach you how the words flow and go.
So your words are first, everybody's got a right to live. And before this campaign fails, we'll all go down to jail. Because everybody has a right to live. You got that?
Got that.
All right.
And so then the second part will be everybody's got a right to live, and then you all will say to live. And then everybody's got a right to love.
To love.
Everybody's got a right to dream. To dream. Everybody's got a right to learn. To learn. Got it? All right.
Everybody's got a right to live. Everybody's got a right to live. And before this campaign fails, we'll all go down to jail. Everybody's got a right to live. Everybody's got a right to live. To live. Everybody's got a right to dream. To dream. Everybody's got a right to love. To love. Everybody's got a right to learn. To learn. Everybody's got a right to live. To live. Everybody's got a right to do. Everybody's got a right to live. Everybody's got a right to live.
And before this campaign fails, we'll all go down to jail. Everybody's got a right to live. Everybody's got a right to live. The Poor People's Campaign in the memory of Dr. Martin Luther King. Please be seated. And we are going to send our kids off to their spirit explorations. Let's sing them on out.
We hold you in our love as you go, as you go. May your heart be at peace as you go. To nurture the spark of your precious life. We hold you in our love as you go.
As one of the usher prepares to bring our joys and sorrows cards, I invite us all to take in a breath together, breathing in peace, breathing out love. Breathing together in peace, breathing out love. One more time. Breathing in peace. We breathe out love. As we continue breathing together in this place that was filled with energy and clapping, now filled with a beautiful calmness, centeredness, and groundedness, allow that breath to carry you back as we continue to breathe together over the last 7 days, the gift that you received of life. And a question in the last week, was there a moment of kindness or caring that you would like to carry with you into this new week? Each week we create space to acknowledge those things that are alive within our hearts and minds, our joys, our gratitudes, our sorrows, our concerns. This is a little of what is alive among us today. Angelique is feeling a sorrow, saying we will miss Margaret in the foothills, but wish her the best on her new adventure in Tennessee. And a joy. My oldest Zelda turns 12 this week, celebrating Zelda's birthday. We also remember our beloveds, those who are unable to be with us today because of health and mobility. We think of Susie P. as she continues her recovery after her surgery, Denise S., Judy P., Diana I., Andrew L., who I notice is here today. It's good to have you, Andrew. Armin B., Glenda R., Pat M., and Robin C. This week was also a week of loss for our congregation. Some of you have heard the news of these losses. For others of us, we may be hearing them for the first time today. On Thursday, longtime church member George Flint passed into the mysteries of death. He was living with his son in Sacramento. We think of George and his beloved Annadelle, who preceded him into the mysteries of death. That was Thursday. And then on Friday, Sam Zutler, our beloved Sam, 101 years old, passed peacefully into the mysteries of death, surrounded by his family. We think of his family and send much love to his wife, Donna. And Ken Ma wrote a card saying, "Remember Sam Zutler and George Flint with much gratitude for their friendship over the years." And Laura R. for David Firth, a fixture in the church for as long as I can remember, quietly keeping the doors unlocked, the chairs set up, and 100 other unglamorous essential things. Also a man who shared my curiosity about how things work for no reason beyond curiosity. I'll miss you, David. David passed into the mysteries of death this past Sunday evening. And so David, a staff member of 38 years, longer that, a member of the church, his devoted service. I think that David deserves a moment of silence. And if you didn't know David, know that his spirit blesses you just the same. If we could let the piano silent for a moment and just hold that moment of silence. We break that silence to celebrate the ceasefire in Gaza. May it be permanent. 12,000 killed by Hamas began this nightmare, and 251 hostages taken. It ends now with over 46,000 Palestinians dead, 110,000 wounded, and Gaza in ruins. We also remember those impacted by the fires in Los Angeles. They have burned through more than 40,000 acres of land, destroyed more than 12,000 structures, killed 25 people, and forced the evacuation of hundreds of thousands more. For all this, and for all that we hold in the silence of our own hearts, we light our candle of community. In the light of this candle, we join our voices in our call to meditation, heart wide open.
You've got to keep your heart wide open, though the waves want to push you around. You've got to keep your heart wide open till your faith brings you back to solid ground. I'm gonna keep my heart wide open, though the waves wanna push me around. I'm gonna keep my heart wide open till my faith brings me back to solid ground. We've gotta keep our hearts wide open, though the waves wanna push us around. We've gotta keep our hearts wide open till our faith brings us back to solid ground.
Our words of prayer and reflection are by Alicia Ford. They will be shared from our online campus by Ida Jones. Dear ones, let us join together in the spirit of mindfulness and prayer. Let us pray.
This poem is titled Love Abundant by Alicia R. Ford. I lift my eyes up to the hills. From where will my help come? My help comes from love abundant. My help comes from the hills. My help, it comes from ancient mothers whose hearts beat in mine. It comes from the trees that sway and the breezes that sway them. My help comes from all that was and is and will ever be. I lift my eyes, hushed by the soothing touch of waves caressing wounded shores, wounded souls. I lift my eyes to the horizon, bathed by the hum of mothers and mothers' mothers, cradling, gently rocking. I lift my voice, call of the sea, trees, sister moon, Mother Earth, my soul weeping, a symphony of life overflowing. I give myself. I too hum through every pore, through every breath. I give myself an extension of all that is, was, and ever will be.
Que así sea, bendito sea. May it be so, blessed be. Amen.
I wish I knew how it would feel to be free. I wish I could break all the chains holding me. I wish I could say all the things that I could say. Say 'em loud, say 'em clear, for the whole round world to hear. Say 'em loud, say 'em clear, for the whole round world to hear. I wish I could share all the love in my heart. Remove all the bars that keep us apart. I wish you could know what it means to be me. Then you'd see and agree everyone should be free. Then you'll see and agree everyone should be free. I wish I could give all I'm longing to give. I wish I could live like I'm longing to live. I wish I could do all the things that I can do. And though I'm way overdue, I'd be starting anew. Though I'm way overdue, I'd be starting anew. Well, I wish I could be like a bird in the sky. How sweet it would be if I found I could fly. I'd soar to the sun and look down at the sea. And then I'd sing, 'cause I know, yeah. And then I'd sing, 'cause I know, yeah. I'd sing, 'cause I know how it feels to be free. Yeah, 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 yeah. Free.
A dream deferred. He had a dream. So many had a dream. So many mothers, marchers, fathers, daughters, sons. So many dreamers and doers, named and unnamed. Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, Bernard Rustin, Dorothy Height, A. Philip Randolph, Fannie Lou Hamer. So many had a dream, so many forgotten already. But his dream was bigger than we comfortably remember. Their dream was bigger than we comfortably remember. The dream was far more simple than acceptance or tolerance. It was larger than color and race. King's dream could rock our world. King's dream should rock our world. Dr. King lived and died challenging our government on our conscience, crying out for economic justice and jobs for all. In this country where money is used to express our will in the world, we conveniently forget that King spoke about equal rights and access to opportunity. Martin Luther King would weep for us today, for the great gulf that widens and pushes so many from the dream of economic advancement and the right to earn a living wage. Martin Luther King believed true and lasting justice would only come with the redistribution of wealth and opportunity. How far we are from jobs, a dignified living for all Americans. How far we are from access to solid education for all. Dr. King lived and died challenging our government and our conscience, crying out for non-violence, for peace in the land, peace in the world, for peace in this country where armed force is often used to express our will in the world. We conveniently forget that King protested against violence in any form. He spoke out against the Vietnam War. He spoke out against imperialism. Were he alive today, he would weep for a country that exports so much violence as a way of life. He would weep for a country that's had so much violence within itself. He would weep for young Black men dying in our city streets. He would weep for those locked away in prison system, in a prison industry that is biased against people of color. In order that we may live, in order that our children may live, in order that our children's children may live, King would remind us that we must reach past our human impulse to bomb and batter. We must be recalled to our best selves again. We must be recalled to our best selves again. May it be so. May it be so.
I invite us to rise and body our spirit. Our hymn is The Fire of Commitment. Those of us who know it, let's sing it boldly. Those of us who don't, see if you can pick up as it moves along. The Fire of Commitment.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. From the light of days remembered, burns a beacon bright and clear, guiding hands and hearts and spirits into faith set free from fear. When the fire of commitment sets our mind and soul aflame, when our hunger and our passion meet to call us on our way, when we live with deep assurance of the flame that burns within, then our promise finds fulfillment and our future can begin. From the stories of a living rings a song both brave and free, calling pilgrims still to witness to the life of liberty. When the fire of commitment sets our mind and soul aflame, when our hunger and our passion meet to call us on our way, when we live with deep assurance of the flame that burns within, then our promise finds fulfillment and our future can begin. From the dreams of youthful vision comes a new prophetic voice, which demands a deeper justice built by our courageous choice. When the fire of commitment sets our mind and souls aflame, when our hunger and our passion meet to call us on our way, when we live with deep assurance of the flame that burns within, then our promise finds fulfillment and our future can begin.
Please be seated. And let's hear it for Stolen Thunder. moment to take a seat. The great poet and prophet Maya Angelou understood well the power of story. She once declared, "There is no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside you." We've seen so many attempts lately by the religious and political right to suppress the true stories of this country. The religious and political right say, stop talking about race and America's relationship to it. Stop with all this DEI. America isn't a racist country. Stop, they say, stop saying that slavery is America's original sin. Stop saying we walk on stolen land. Stop being anti-American. Stop trashing America. Give us the myth of America, not the reality of America. At the very moment when the truth about race and America was finally beginning to see the light of day and being discussed widely by white people, at the very moment we had an opportunity created by our 2020 Summer of Racial Reckoning after the slow and agonizing murder of George Floyd, just when some of us thought we might have a real opportunity for transparency and change, states like Florida, Texas, Missouri, and too many others are pushing truth back into the closet and slamming the door shut on history. There is no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside you. If we can't tell the true story, America will continue to be in agony from the inability to create the deep and lasting change that Dr. Martin Luther King dreamed about. The religious and political right know the power of story. They know that whoever sets the narrative wins. Whoever sets the story on social media wins. Wins the election, wins the legislation, wins the fight. One of the stories that gets increasingly rewritten and whitewashed this time of year is the story of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. While he was alive, he was one of the most hated people in America and considered by the government, by the FBI, to be one of the most dangerous. But you'd never know that if you attend many of the MLK celebrations tomorrow, especially in white suburbs. King will be reduced to a dream of a black child and a white child peacefully holding hands, walking into the sunset. A dream achieved. Yeah. In the preface to his book, The Radical King, Cornel West writes, King indeed had a dream. It was what the quest for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness looked like for people enslaved and Jim Crowed, terrorized, traumatized, and stigmatized by American laws and American citizens. He goes on to say the litmus test for realizing King's dream was neither a black face in the White House nor a black presence on Wall Street. Rather, the fulfillment of his dream was for all poor and working people to live lives of decency and dignity. Would you say that last part with me? The fulfillment of his dream was for all poor and working people to live lives of decency and dignity, dream not achieved. By the time, Cornel West writes, by the time that he was assassinated, King's dream of a more free and democratic America and world had morphed into what was, in his own words, quote, a nightmare, made due to because of the persistence of racism, poverty, militarism, and materialism. King called America, quote, a sick society. At one point, King cried out in despair, "I have found out that all I have been doing in trying to correct the system in America has been in vain. I am trying to get at the roots of it to see just what ought to be done. The whole thing will have to be done away with." Cornel West continues, "For King, dissent did not mean disloyalty. In fact, dissent was a high form of patriotism. When he said that the U.S. government was the greatest purveyor of violence in the world today, he was not trashing America. He was telling the painful truth about a country that he deeply loved. King was never anti-American. He was always anti-injustice in America and everywhere else as well." Cornel West adds, "The response of the radical King can be put into one word: revolution." And we get slide 111. Revolution. A revolution in our priorities, a revolution, a reevaluation of our values, and a fundamental transformation of our way of thinking and living that promotes the transfer of power from oligarchs to everyday people and ordinary citizens. That was King's dream. Could that statement be ever more true than today, on the eve of tomorrow's inauguration, bought in part by Elon Musk and glommed onto by other high-tech billionaire opportunists? We cannot let them take from us the true story of Dr. Martin Luther King. His critique and clarion cry was not only against racism, but also against poverty, militarism, materialism, and greed. Greed for money, greed for power. As a Unitarian Universalist, I find spiritual rejuvenation in the true story of Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. I also honor where the story of Dr. King overlaps with the story of Unitarian Universalism. In 1966, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was invited to address the national gathering of Unitarian Universalists at that year's General Assembly. 1 year prior, in 1965, there had been the bloody beating of black people in Selma as they tried to cross the Edmund Pettus Bridge on their march to Montgomery, Alabama. Dr. King knew that more Unitarian Universalists responded to his call for people of faith to come to Selma than any other denomination in the country. Two-thirds of all Unitarian Universalist ministers in the country showed up in Selma to march with Dr. King. One of them One of them, the Reverend James Reeb, died there after being beaten by racists. Another Unitarian Universalist, Viola Liuzzo, was shot in the head and killed by the Ku Klux Klan while driving returning marchers to the Selma airport. Given his study of religion, I'm sure Dr. King would have known of other connections between Unitarian Universalism and the struggle for civil rights. I'm pretty sure Dr. King would have known that in 1785, the first Universalist congregation in this country had a black man, Gloucester Dalton, as a founding member. Dr. King would have known that the Universalists spoke out against slavery in the 1790s, long before most other religious bodies did so. Dr. King would have known that prior to the Civil War, many prominent Unitarians worked tirelessly for the abolition of slavery, including Lydia Marie Child, William Lloyd Garrison, Margaret Fuller, Ralph Waldo Emerson, Henry David Thoreau, and Theodore Parker. Theodore Parker, a Unitarian, also helped pay for John Brown's raid on Harper's Ferry. I'm sure King knew that the influence of Unitarian minister, the Reverend Thomas Starr King, was responsible for keeping California slave-free when it entered the Union as a new state. King also knew that in 1909, Unitarians Mary White Ovington and Reverend John Hines were two of the founders of the NAACP. There was also Unitarian Frances Ellen Watkins Harper, the black author whose investigative reporting in the mid-1800s exposed the truth about widespread lynching of innocent black men. She was one of the first black women to be published in this country. Equally powerful was Unitarian Fanny Barrier Williams, a black activist who in 1893 addressed the World Parliament on Religion being held as part of the Chicago World's Fair. Her speech calling for white Christian churches to work for justice for black Americans made her famous, and she spent the rest of her life working for equal access to education and opportunity for black people. So all of this history, all the impact of all these Unitarian ancestors were present as Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. strode to the podium at the 1966 General Assembly and began his remarks to the gathered Unitarian Universalists. King said, "There are those wonderful moments in life when you speak before a group that is so near and dear to you that you don't feel like you have to engage in the art of persuasion. You don't feel like you are in the midst of strangers. You know that you are with friends. I can assure you that I feel that way tonight." But then, the radical King quickly changed gears and delivered a cutting call to action to this majority white denomination. Knowing their unconscious racism, he challenged them not to rest comfortably on the laurels of their liberal leanings. King declared, "One of the great misfortunes of history is that all too many individuals and institutions find themselves in a great period of change and yet fail to achieve the new attitudes and outlooks that the new situation demands. There is nothing more tragic than to sleep through a revolution." Could you say that with me? There is nothing more tragic than to sleep through a revolution. And, said King, there can be no denying the fact that a social revolution is taking place in our world today. The great question is, what do we do when we find ourselves in such a period? The church has a great responsibility, because when the church is true to its nature, it stands as a moral guardian of the community and of society. He said it is always the role of the church to broaden horizons, to challenge the status quo, and to question and break mores if necessary. I'm sure that we all agree that a church has a major role to play in this period of social change. King went on to say, there are some things in our nation and in our world to which I'm proud to be maladjusted. And I call upon you to be maladjusted to these things until the good society is realized. I never intend to adjust myself to segregation and discrimination. I never intend to become adjusted to religious bigotry. I never tend to adjust myself to economic conditions that will take necessities from the many to give luxuries to the few and leave millions of people perishing on a lonely island of poverty in the midst of a vast ocean of prosperity. King then said, I must honestly say, however much criticism it brings, that I never intend to adjust myself to the madness of militarism and to the self-defeating effects of physical violence. In a day when ballistic missiles are carving highways of death through the stratosphere, no nation can win a war. No nation can win a war. Dr. King said, it is no longer a choice between nonviolence and violence. It is now a choice between nonviolence and non-existence. Dr. King ended his long speech with words that ring true for the moment in time we are facing today, tomorrow, and in the weeks and months and years to come. Dr. King looked at the Unitarian Universalists gathered in that great hall in 1966, but he could have been looking at us today, and he said, let me say in conclusion that I have not despaired of the future. I firmly believe we can solve these problems. I know that there are still difficult days ahead, and they are days of glorious opportunity. And we can sing, we shall overcome, because somehow we know the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends toward justice. We shall overcome, because philosopher Carlyle is right when he said, no lie can live forever. We shall overcome because William Cullen Bryant is right. Truth crushed will rise again. With this faith, we will be able to hew out of the mountain of despair a stone of hope. My dear ones, as tomorrow dawns and an oath of office is administered, remember these words Dr. Martin Luther King spoke to our fellow Unitarian Universalists in 1966. No lie can live forever. Truth crushed will rise again. With this faith, we will be able to hew out of the mountain of despair a stone of hope. With this faith, we will be able to hew out of the mountain of despair a story, our story of hope. Que así sea, bendito sea. May it be so. Blessed be. Amen.
I was born by the river in a little tent, and oh, just like that river, I've been running ever since. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes, it will. It's been too hard living, but I'm afraid to die, 'cause I don't know what's up there beyond the sky. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes, it will. I go to the movies and I go downtown, and all they keep on telling me is, girl, don't hang around. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes, it will. And then I go to my brother and I say, brother, help me please. But he winds up knocking me back down on my knees. Well, there were times I thought I wouldn't last for long. Oh, but now I'm able to carry on. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change is gonna come. Oh, yes, it will.
Today, we hold a special collection in support of communities impacted by the wildfires in Los Angeles. All money donated this morning will be support of the World Central Kitchen and their on-ground work and response to the fires. World Central Kitchen responds to natural disasters, human-made crisis, and humanitarian emergencies. They're a team of food first responders mobilizing with urgency of now to get meals to people who need them most, deploying their model of quick action, leveraging local resources, and adopting in real time. World Kitchen, Central Kitchen knows that a nourishing meal in a time of crisis is so much more than a plate of food. It's hope, it's dignity, and it's a sign that someone cares. Today, World Kitchen, Central Kitchen has 24 locations in the Los Angeles area, serving meals to those displaced by the fires, as well as first responders who are fighting those blazes. They are working with local restaurants, chefs, volunteers to cook and distribute those meals. Any contribution today will go directly to the support of their effort. In that spirit, please join us in our words of offering. If not us, then who? If not open hearts, then what? If not now, then when? If not here, then where? If not generously, then how? If not us, then who? Si no somos nosotros, entonces ¿quién? Si no con corazones abiertos, entonces ¿qué? Si no ahora, entonces ¿cuándo? Si no es aquí, entonces ¿dónde? Si no damos generosamente, entonces ¿cómo? Si no somos nosotros, entonces ¿quién? I'd like to share these words in Filipino as well. Kung hindi tayo, sino? Kung hindi bukas, ang puso ano? Kung hindi ngayon, kailan? Kung hindi dito, saan? Kung hindi bukas pala't paano? Kung hindi tayo, sino? Here's a slide showing how you can make a financial contribution right now. As music begins, the baskets will be passed in the Alluvial Avenue Sanctuary. The morning offering for the LA Fire response by World Central Kitchen will now be gratefully received.
We lit our chalice to these words of Dr. King. We will extinguish our chalice with them as well.
We are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny.
Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly.
Injustice anywhere is a threat to Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere.
Please join in our chalice extinguishing words led by Karen and Troy.
Extinguimos esta llama, pero no la luz de la verdad, el calor de comunidad, o el fuego de nuestro compromiso. Estos los llevaremos en el corazón. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts.
Now for some reminders.
Could we just have some appreciation for all who participated in today's service? And another round of applause for Danielle Davis. I think we can say the incomparable Danielle Davis. So also quite extraordinary, Cecily. Cecily is our coordinator of community life. If you are new or newest to our community, she's your go-to person, answers about all your questions and can help you feel more connected, move from this being a place that you attend to a place where you feel you belong. Coffee hour will be outside in the sunny quad, and there is a table with a turquoise tablecloth, and that is our visitors table, and Laura will be there, the treasurer of our board of trustees, and she will reveal all the secrets of our church's finances. Other things going on after the service. Today, I will be leading at 12:15 in this very sanctuary a class entitled The Blessing of Grace in Difficult Times. All are invited to come to that. You don't have to do any pre-work to prepare for it, and it'll be a time of shoring up our spirit and our heart. Also happening after the service today will be the first meeting of our BIPOC group, and we are excited that Karen, she was so eager. Karen, what do you have for us?
Good morning. As UU Fresno deepens our practice of building beloved community, we have been exploring the idea of our church as a community of communities. To do that, we have been supporting the formation of new affinity groups to build connections between people with shared identities and interests. Today, we're holding intentional space for our Black, Indigenous, and people of color community members. And I warmly invite you to join us after service today in the garage or on Zoom. I hope to see you there.
Tomorrow is our annual Martin Luther King Jr. March. We will be gathering at St. John's Cathedral in downtown Fresno. Gather around 9:30 to 9:45, and the march begins at 10 a.m. Just look for the bright yellow banner and the bright yellow stole worn by your minister. Last but not least, in terms of reminders, I get to introduce another video. Our auction is about to begin February 2nd through the 9th, and here are our co-leaders to tell us about it.
Hello, I'm Valerie Johnson.
And I'm Shelley Glassford.
And we're the co-chairs of this year's auction. The theme is How Sweet It Is, and it's coming up very soon, February 2nd to February 9th.
This is the biggest fundraiser of the year for our church, and we want it to be as sweet as possible. We're working on the website right now, but we need more items to put in the website.
Here are some ideas. First up is gift certificates, always appropriate. Stores, restaurants, the zoo, museums, you name it.
Here's an idea. How about some pampering, like a manicure, a massage, or a haircut?
And we can always use more desserts for our dessert auction. How sweet it is.
We have lots of ideas. So if you see us at church, talk to us.
Or you can email us at auction@uufresno.org. See you soon.
And as I said last week, if things are tight and there's something you would like to donate to the auction, but you just don't have that extra cash right now, talk to Cecily, talk to me. We'll be able to make sure that you can purchase that item and donate it to the auction. Community is more important than money when it comes to this auction. Now, we do have a tradition that we like to invite folks who are here for the first, second, or third time to rise for a moment so we can welcome you. We don't do it to embarrass you. Believe me, we're genuinely glad that on a beautiful Sunday like this, you chose to be with us. So, if it is your first, second, or third time, please rise. We won't leave you standing alone for long. Welcome, 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 welcome. I invite the rest of the congregation to rise. Feel free to join hands if you're comfortable. If not, place your hands over your heart for our closing words and then our sung benediction. The words of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. No lie can live forever. Truth crushed will rise again. With this faith, we will be able to hew out of the mountain of despair a stone of hope. With our faith, we will be able to hew out of the mountain of despair a story of hope. May it be so. Blessed be. Amen.
1, 2, 3. Go from here in peace, go with love. Go from here in peace, go with love. Go from here in peace, go with love. In love, go in peace. Shalom and assalamu alaikum.
Thank you.